Can you hear me out there? Tommy, can you hear me? Okay. Very good, very good, very good. All right, let's get cracking. Let's get cracking. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. Let's start over. All right, welcome to the 30-year bond auction, 10-minute trades, trade room. 40 seconds early. So let's wait. Actually, most of the people that normally are watching us stream should be in the room because we invited everybody in the room this week. So I hope everybody's enjoying the room. And 5 seconds to go. So welcome to the 30-year bond auction, 10-minute trades. My name is Lee Goldstein. I'm the trading director for 10-minute trades. Warning, any and all trades discussed during this webinar are for educational purposes only. It's possible to trade futures and lose money, so please trade carefully. Warning, warning. What was that from? Warning. What was the robot? They went warning, warning. Lost in Space. That's what it was. Lost in Space. Not one of my favorite shows. All right, I'm watching ZN on the right, but I'm trading ZB on the left, okay? Trading ZB on this report. So the 52-week auction came out already, good. It's not the right number. It's 0.75. Investing.com is a mess. Absolute mess. It's just a shell of what it used to be. That's the truth. A shell. It used to be so reliable. So let's do something different today because it's the bond auction. The news result is not as dramatic a mover as, like, say, a GDP report or something like that. Let me try something. I want to try something different. Good afternoon. TJ, did you miss this morning's trade? I can't get my screen to work the way I want it to work. Let's see what's going on here. You are there. Okay, good. Good, good, good. None of the websites work the way they used to work. That's the truth. So I don't have this set up properly either. We got plenty of time, so don't panic. $1,700. That's not my clock. So I'm going to have to set this up later. I don't want to waste any more time on it. I want to use a different time. different time. And it won't let me do it. All right, forget it. What I was trying to do doesn't matter. None of us old folks, none of us old forks, none of us old folks work the way we used to work. TJ, send me a picture. You didn't send me a picture of the money you made this morning. I need that. I need that. Only 740 you made? Why'd you have such a bad day? The CPI report. What's interesting about that CPI report is how it's come back. We waited like 2 years for that report to start working again. No joke. I've been watching that report for 2 years and not behave. I mean, it's been terrible. It's been terrible. And then all of a sudden, as soon as the market started looking at inflation and prices, then that report got real important again. So sometimes, you know, I always say that we don't use analysis, we don't use, you know, the types of analysis that discretionary traders do, but sometimes we do a little bit because inflation data is the type of data a discretionary trader would have their, you know, they'd have their radar on that information. That's definite. So I'm just trying to get FX Street to work properly, and I can't seem to get it to work. Let me just try one more thing. I think I got it. I just want to try a different calendar. I don't know if it's going to work. I don't know if it's going to matter. I mean, it's not going to matter. I just want to see if it works in real time. That's what I'm interested in. All the calendars are quite different these days. See now, FX Street, it almost likes a little bit more horizontal, and it won't let me shrink. So let's just see if the result comes out in real time. I'm also using Financial Juice, which I like a lot. I like Financial Juice, and I use them in the background also. Stephen, the reason I don't use Forex Factory in the room is because you have to click on it to get the result. I don't want to click on anything because you don't have time during a news trade to do any clicking. Now, in this trade, you do. You can click away. This is a slow trade generally. It's not a big mover. So we'll look at a couple. Every now and then you get a blast off on 30 years, on the 30-year bond. I'm not really, the bonds have been slow the past couple of them. A little bit slower than normal. So, I mean, it is what it is. They're just little, they've been quiet. Obviously, we have no control over how reports work. As long as, you know, as long as you don't get stopped out every month, the key that we're looking at is safety right now. We don't want to take trades that take our money. I don't mind if a trade's canceled, because it's slow. That doesn't bother me. But I like Forex Factory a lot, Stephen. When I make my schedule, it's one of the important websites that I use to help me create the schedule. That's definite. It's very reliable, and they have a good schedule. They definitely have a good schedule. So I'm just looking over some of the folks that are in here. I wish you would all use your real names, and put your pictures up. I know. I like it when you put your pictures up. I know who I'm talking to. Otherwise, I'm just like guessing. And I can't stand like fake names. I can't take it. Like Procol 33. I mean, I'm guilty of doing all the same things we all do. But in the trade room, I would love it if everybody would use their real name. You don't have to. I'm not saying you have to do it, so don't. Just my preference. And it doesn't really, do whatever you want. It doesn't really matter. TJ, you're like halfway there. I'm assuming that TJ is your initials. This was last month's trade. Now look, a lot of people made a lot of money this morning. You don't have to do any more trading today if you don't want to, right? There's no law that says you have to keep trading just because it's a family money trade. I don't care what it is. If you're comfortable with the amount of money you made in a day and you made a real solid day's pay, you could stop for the day. You don't have to keep trading. I mean, that's one of the most difficult aspects of trading is I personally, as a general rule, don't like having limits. I don't like to have a limit on the upside, and I don't really have a limit on the downside. I mean, especially the way we're trading now, we're probably not going to lose every single trade in one day. I don't think, I mean, that we're going to lose every trade. I think that the odds are in our favor that a couple of them will win. But if you have a limit and then you miss the best trade of the day, it doesn't give you an opportunity to get your money back. So, you know, there's a lot of, you know, there's definitely different schools of thought about whether you should have a limit or not. So let's see, this was June. We were up. June was a pretty good trade, actually, on 30-year bonds. We were up. Let's see, maybe it wasn't as good as I thought. We were up 350 before the trade. Okay, and I can see that in my price, my profit. We were up 350. No, but you know what? I'm losing my mind, folks. Hold on. This video's corrupt also, so it's not making my life easy. So 1301.30, yeah, we were up 350 before the trade. Mark, that's a good question. How do you put your picture up? It's so darn complicated. And they're supposed to be updating it. Don't do anything yet, Mark. I'll find out. Let me talk to the trade room support people and find out if they've updated how you can put the picture up, because it was so convoluted when we first started using the software. It might be easier now, so I don't want you to waste your time. Let me reach out to them first, and I'll ask them if it can. It couldn't just be simply uploaded like a little baby would do it. So last month we made 125 bucks on the bond trade. Nothing wrong with that. I don't mind that. But it was not a very big mover, to be honest. I traded 3 contracts. It has to do right now. Cliff is your real name, Cliff. I know that's not a fake name. Josh, I know, is a real name. Michael, nice to see you. Why the first time now? Where were you this morning? Just curious. Where were you this morning? I'm just asking. That's all. Just curious. So the picture, Mark, just to answer your question, has to do with creating an avatar. You know what? I don't know what I'm talking about. Now that I'm thinking about it, no, I'm wrong. There's creating an avatar, and then there's putting a picture up. So I'll have to. I honestly don't know how to put a picture up. I'll have to ask them. I was thinking about creating an avatar is a tremendous pain in the neck. Yeah, they call it a gravatar. You're right, Calvin. Why do they call it a gravatar and not an avatar? I don't know. So here's our daily report for the 30-year bond auction. We've had 3 winners in a row. Not bad size either. Not bad size. Remember that the ticks don't take into account slippage in the bracket. So it's not gigantic movers. We're due for a gigantic move. We're due for a gigantic move. So I trade ZB on this market, on these reports. I feel it moves the best. I think you can get away with ZN if you want to. It's a bracket of 3 on ZB. It's a bracket of 3. The profit target is 2 and 6. The stop is 3 ticks. Yeah, there will be a recording. I have a recording. I just, it might wind up being the trade of the week. It was a really good trade, Michael. I have a funny feeling it's going to be the trade of the week. So that means it'll get mailed out Saturday morning. I mail out the trade of the week every Saturday morning. Although, you know what, while we're doing this promotion, I might still do it. I might still do it. We'll probably make it part of the promotion. So the entry time on this trade is 13:01:30. 13:01:30. Okay, 13:01:30. It's a breakout trade. Trading real. I always like to label my trades because, like this morning, you could have traded 2 instruments this morning. It would have been safe. It definitely would have been safe. That CPI report, I'm going to look into bonds. It's not quite the same. Yes, Weldon, you can leave one of the targets, like you could leave your second target at 0, and in theory, it would be a runner. But it's not going to, it'll mean you won't have a target, so you'll have to exit manually. In other words, there won't be a target on the chart, but you will have a position in the market, okay? You could also, create a target of 12, right? You could use a target of 12, so you have a target on the screen that you can manipulate. There's all different ways you can deal with it. I don't like to do a lot of trailing. Our software does support trailing, but news reports tend to bounce up and down a lot. And there are a few reports that I will trail, like earning reports. I'll sometimes trail and next week we'll get into some earnings. I have a crazy way of we do a limited amount of earnings trades. Entry time, let me just go over the setup. So the bracket is 3, 2 targets for 2 ticks, 1 target for 6. So I'm risking like 287.50 on the trade if it stops out. Today I was calculating all the family money trades that we've taken. It looks like we've taken 46 trades. 2 canceled. 2 trades were canceled. Weldon, does that answer your question? And yes, it is the TTMS squeeze. It's a, it's a Ninja Trader version of it, Michael. It's not the real TTMS, but it's based on it. I was trained by John Carter and Hubert Centers. That's how I learned to trade. They were probably the biggest influences in my trading career. I love that. I love John Carter. I love John Carter. I think Hubert's an awesome gold trader, one of the best gold traders I've ever seen, and one of the best bond traders I've ever seen. Bracket of 3, 2 targets for 2 positions on position 1, 2 contracts for 2 ticks, 1 contract for 6 ticks, and a stop of 3, and an entry time of 13:01:30. Oh, TTMS. What did TTMS stand for? Trade the Markets. That was the name of their company. Their newer company was Trade the Markets. No, their old company was their original company was Trade the Markets. That's what they used to be called when it was Hubert and John. Then they split up. It was a big to-do. They never, ever told anyone why. Breakout trade. 13:01:30 is the entry time. Remember, I like to label my trade. They never told anybody. Theoretical 60-second cancel. To this day, I don't know why they split up from each other. They worked well together. They were a good team. They had a good group of guys and gals working when they were there. They were it was a good company. I always felt that they were pretty honest. The squeeze is available on Thinkorswim for free. It's part of the platform. It's definitely become a sort of like a generic indicator. So I'm going to sync my time by going to time.is. Okay. John Carter has many different types of squeezes. He's got waves and he's got weekly squeezes. I haven't, been involved with his trading in a long time, so I'm not as up on all the tools he's using these days, but I know that he came out with a lot of he's got a Squeeze Pro, right, and it's Keltner channels inside the Bollinger Bands. Everybody kind of knows what it's based on. It's a nice momentum tool. I like it for reverse signals. When the color changes and the momentum shrinks, that's a really good reversal signal. But what's important is the size of there's one very important level on the squeeze, the momentum length. That really dictates how fast the signals draw. But I always liked the squeeze. It was always an indicator that I always had on my charts. We used it a lot at the beginning of the pandemic for signals. It is not part of the JOBB software. Nope. It's an indicator that I probably got it from Futures.io, or maybe even if you go to Ninja Traders. Ninja Trader has a website where they have a million, not a million, but a lot of indicators. 1301.30 is the entry time. 1301.30. One more time on the setup. Bracket of 3, skip down. I'm trading 2 contracts for a profit of 2 ticks. 1 contract for 6 ticks. My stop is 3. My entry time is 1301.30. It's a breakout trade. That's my setup. That's all I'm messing with today. Don't forget to enable the trade if you're going to trade. I guess Carter has a different name for his company now. He's got a lot of companies now. Simpler Trading, Simpler Options, Simpler Auto Mechanics, Simpler Everything. He's a good salesman. Give him credit. Very good salesman. Very good trader. Very good trader. I never thought that their prices were great, but I never felt that I always felt they were very honest. They really tried to help. They definitely tried to help you trade better. They loved making money, especially Hubert. He loved making money more, I think. And they worked really well together. That was a long time ago when they were together. That was a long time ago. I'm just changing where my net display shows up. I can't see it on the top right. I can't really see it anywhere these days. So I think bottom right is good. So this is theoretically a 60-second cancel. Yeah, I always felt that they were nice guys. I went to a lot of their classes. They were nice guys. They really were. They really were nice people. I mean, there's so many. I was just like everybody in this room. I went to every trade room. He claims he's up over 20 million this year. I'm not surprised. I believe it. I believe it. He really knows option trading. He's done a lifetime of really good trading. And the reason he's so good is he's got the psychological down pat. He just has no fear whatsoever. But, not that many people trade live real money. He was someone that he almost always traded live. He always traded live money. I've been in a lot of rooms. I was saying, I was just like everybody in this room. I jumped around from room to room to room to room to room, looking for honest people that would help me. And it was very hard. Not that, and a fair amount of people traded real money, but a lot of them didn't. You can't get emotional. You have to, yeah, but it's very hard to say that. It's easy to say it, it's hard to do it. You know, anytime you're dealing with money, there's emotion. Now, look, if I had $1 million in my futures trading account, I don't think I'd be worried about a small trade or even a medium-sized trade. When you have, well, look, when you have $1 million, you don't trade two contracts. I had $1 million once. So see how FX Street has this little circular wheel, kind of waiting for that live data to come out. So I'm listening to Financial Juice in the background. They'll comment on the auction as soon as the data's out. So what's good about that is we'll know when the news comes out. Sometimes on the bond trades, you don't know when the news gets released. It can be a little bit confusing sometimes. It can be a little bit confusing. The ZN generally has movement. Over history, it hasn't moved as well as the ZB. Now, normally we have a 60-second cancel on this news. So there's our orders. Normally you can tell when the news is released because the price will burst. And I was going to say, it's very normal for the trade. Oh, we got caught on the wrong side of the trade. That's very bad luck. Very bad luck. So we got filled before the news came out. We got filled before the news came out. That's a shame. That's a shame. So that's our first losing trade. I can't remember the last time we had a trade that didn't make money. It's pretty frustrating. Pretty frustrating. You know, that 3-tick bracket, the irony of 4-tick bracket, you could look at what would have kept you safe, what wouldn't have kept you safe. And we got filled right at the top, a 4-tick bracket, a 4-tick bracket. The recent bond trades have been lousy. They've not been trading well. They're going, you know, they go through periods where they just haven't been trading as well. Look, we're still profitable. It's a shame. I hate giving money back to the market. Like I said, it's the first losing trade in ages, And the 30-year bond is the best of the 4, the 20-year. Actually, the 20-year has been behaving better than I think any of them recently. But it's such a shame because, my goodness, it was so close. One extra tick on the bracket or where you got filled. I mean, it's the anytime a trade doesn't work, it's tremendously frustrating. No, I didn't. I didn't look at the NQ. I don't trade NQ on news except very, very rare moments. Because without actually going back and testing the NQ on the last 4 bond trades, I don't know for sure that that is even a bond move. Okay, so that to me right now is nothing more than anecdotal until you go back and test 4 of them. That's the truth. You got to go test at least 4 of them because you just don't know just on one trade if that's unequivocally a bond move. It could be, but without having seen it. And you just don't change things up based on one trade anyway. You just wouldn't do that. You just wouldn't. I mean, somebody probably would. I wouldn't. So what a shame, because it was such an excellent move to the downside. It's almost as if the market, it just filled before the news came out. Let's look at the video real quick. Let's look at the video. I was thinking of a way to close it, because anytime you get filled and it just sits, it's not what you want to see. That's dull. And that's generally not going to be a good trade. So what happened? Let's see what happened. So 1301.30. So if we put it moved 1 tick after we put our orders on. It moved 1 tick. Our orders were on a tick below where the candle is. And then it moved 2 ticks there to fill us. But I don't think the news was out yet. I think that was just a random, because that's the move. In other words, we just unluckily got filled. Unluckily got filled. And I have a thought about these bond trades. See, the only move I want is that one. I don't want to trade them if we don't catch that move. And I'm just thinking if the 30-year and the 20-year would be better served with 4 tick brackets. And I know that the 7 and the 10 should have 3 tick brackets. 2 tick brackets are too small. But it's an interesting theory to test how the 30-year would do with a 4 tick bracket. So it's maybe something we'll take a look at. So a shame, hate to give back money. All right, folks. So I want to thank everybody for watching on YouTube, and I'll see everybody later. Yeah, Michael, send me an email, help@10minutetrades.com, help@10minutetrades.com. Okay, folks, I'll see everybody later. Have a good rest of your day, and I'll see you in a bit. Take care. Oops.
Don't want to do that.
All right, see you later.